You're listening to BQN. Assimilate the audio.
Hello everyone, welcome to the BQN Hive Mind presents Hit It. It's me, your BQN host with the most, Davey. Probably know me from around the BQN as the host of what was formerly known as the Treksperts Quiz, which will be coming up with its new season right after this broadcast. Well, maybe about half an hour after this broadcast, depending on how long we take, under the new name of Trek Masters, which I'm really, really excited to be bringing you. And also, I'm from the Bargain Bin Gamers, spelt Gaymer. So for those of you who are uninitiated to what the BQN Hive Mind is, this is an initiative that I've been running on the BQN since the final season of Discovery. So we've always had the Hive Mind as a bit of a Zoom catch-up that we do with our Patreon subscribers since the COVID days, as a bit of a way of getting together and having a bit of a chat. But we then morphed it into these live recap shows that we do for when there is actual Star Trek on TV. And we do invite our Patreon members at the Scorpion level, that's our second level and above, to join us. So if you would like to be a part of future broadcasts, do sign up to be a patron over at patreon.com/BQN. Now, it's interesting. You may notice that I'm just kind of here talking just to myself at the moment. I haven't actually got anyone here with me. And do you know what? There are some of our Patreon members who are on the way to join me, but they're running a little late today for the live broadcast because I did have to do this at an earlier time so that we could do Trek Masters at the normal time that we've been doing this. But it's interesting. When we were doing final season of Discovery, when we were doing final season of Lower Decks recaps, when we were doing Prodigy recaps, even when we did the Section 31 movie recap, lots of people wanted to join in the conversation. I'm finding people are not as excited to jump in on the conversation about Strange New Worlds Season 3. And like I said, there are some people who are on the way to join in, but for the most part, I think it's been very telling of what this season has been like. And I think roller coaster is one word I've heard to describe it. For me, it's just been an incredibly inconsistent season of television that I had to wait 2 or 3 years to get. I've never had to try so hard to enjoy Star Trek before, which is really unfortunate. And that's, I don't want to seem like I'm a downer. I've always been all in on modern Star Trek, on the streaming era, on the Kurtzman era, whatever era you want to call it. But this season I found really, really hard. And I wonder if anyone that we've got watching in the live chat today feels the same or feels differently. And you know, I guess there's a number of different reasons, and I think when we get into talking about the finale with our other patrons when they arrive, you know, I think it'll be interesting to kind of get their thoughts on this as well, because there's different reasons, I guess, that I've heard theorized as to why the quality of this season has not been perhaps quite what we would expect from our beloved Strange New Worlds and our beloved Star Trek. So this season was like written, shot, and produced right back after all of the various different strikes in Hollywood, and I believe it was rushed into production immediately after that was finished, but then took several years to get released. I've heard rumors of reshoots and rewrites and all kinds of stuff, and I feel like the product that we got at the end was a little bit of a... Well, I guess you can tell, right? Like, you can tell that you can tell that there was... Well, I could tell. I could personally tell that there was a bit of a rushed production on this one, and that there must have been stuff going on behind the scenes that we didn't know about, right? Because not every episode of every season of Star Trek is a winner, but I've never seen so many fans divided week to week on what has been going on in Star Trek as I have seen this season. That being said, some of the episodes were absolute gold to me. Like, absolute gold. Like, I loved the Cellar that ate its own tail. Like, just cinematic, beautiful, exciting. I loved Terrarium. Terrarium was brilliant. Like a modern take on a classic Trek tale. Think Arena, think Darmok, all that kind of stuff. Maybe ruined with a bit of an unnecessary twist at the end. And that's something that I think I observed throughout this entire season as well. Even the episodes that I really loved, there was always something that happened in each episode that took me out of it. Something that took me out of the story. Something unbelievable in the plot. A character doing something that I just didn't think that they should do. And obvious rehashings of stories that we've seen before. And then we get this finale. So, New Life and New Civilizations, or New World... Was it New Life and New Civilizations, or New Worlds and New Civilizations? I can't remember. I may have gotten that wrong in the episode title. But yeah, that brings us to this finale. And what we got out of this finale was... And I'm interested to know... You know, I've seen people online going, yeah, I really, really loved it. It was amazing. It was touching. It was beautiful. I've seen other people go, it was just okay. It was just okay. And right down to other people online who are also saying things like, they've ruined the franchise. They've ruined Strange New Worlds. Not looking forward to the next season. So people are really divided on this. And I've seen people who've really defended modern Trek and the Kurtzman era really taken out of it. And I've had that challenge this as well. So how did I feel after the finale? Indifferent. Very indifferent. I spent most of it going, oh, why are we doing this? It feels so rushed. And then I found that towards the end, I really there was kind of like the final act of it was very different. You know, Pike getting his inner light moment. I found it all very touching towards the end, and I did feel some excitement and hope for what might come next towards the end. But most of this finale, I felt like it was very rushed. And I felt like it was trying to do too much. There was too many big ideas all happening at the one time. And I feel like what I saw with a lot of this season is a lot of it didn't come together very well. In general, I thought the episode and all of the episodes this season looked fantastic. Like, the production value on it is absolutely out of this world. You know, there was great use of the AR wall. The makeup and costuming in this season has been, I think, some of the best we have ever, well, I feel like I have ever seen in Star Trek, especially in Strange New Worlds. But before I get any further on that, I just want to welcome. I'm finally being joined, so I'm not just going to sit here and talk to the chat and to YouTube all by myself. So my good friend Jim McMahon is on his way. There he is. He's in his car. Hey Jim, how you going?
Hello.
This is modern YouTube streaming, by the way. I just chatted to the audience all by myself for a good 5 minutes, and then you're joining from your car. How far from home are you?
At least 10 to 15 minutes.
All right, all right. Well, don't you do anything unsafe. You focus on what you're doing, my friend.
Oh, trust me, I am focused fully on getting home.
Okay, all good, all good. Well, you focus on that. So, Jim, while you're there, why don't you tell me? I was just explaining my thoughts on the finale as a whole and how I felt at the end of it. What's your initial reaction? Give me your when the credits rolled. What went through Jim McMahon's head?
I thought it was a pretty good finale, but I did think it was also underwhelming in some aspects. Like they made it seem like Mbenga was going to be this big, huge, important character central to the plot, but then once Captain Patel and Hait came on scene, he was virtually non-existent until like the last scene in the montage at the end.
It's so funny that you mentioned that because I actually forgot that Mbenga even had a central arc in this episode. Like
Yeah.
and it did. It was like the supposed to be the resolution of him and Gamble, but then
Which is why I thought he was going to be central to it when Gamble kidnapped him. But he pretty, like I said, once Marie came on scene, you don't see Mbenga again at any point.
yeah, oh wow, thank you for reminding me of that. Yeah, and that's what I was just saying. I felt like they were trying to do too much in the finale,
I
and
thought so.
and none of it had any impact. Like up until maybe like the final act where Battelle gives Pike, this gift of a lifetime together. Before that, like that kind of had more impact in that kind of whole 10-15 minute kind of epilogue, if you will, than the rest of the episode had, if you know what I mean. Jim, don't focus too much on the phone. Just put the phone down. We'll just listen to your voice.
Lost you on audio, Davey.
Oh, that's all right. That's all right. We're having a good time here today, everyone. We're having a great time. This is the beauty of doing things live on the internet. And chat, I know you're there. I can see there are 5 people watching right now. I want your opinions in the chat. Don't make me talk to myself about this episode for half an hour. I'm just going to sit here and rant to the camera. I said I was going to do the hive mind every single week, and damn it, I'm going to keep on doing it. But Jim is on his way back. Let's just make sure that Jim doesn't leave his camera on and just focuses on driving, by the way, because I'm worried. I'm worried about what's going on there. All right.
Sorry, I lost you. I lost your audio.
That's
We're
all
live,
right.
folks.
That's all right. That's all right. We're live, folks. We're live. We're back. We've got Jim. Yeah, I was just saying, like, I felt like that whole epilogue with Pike having his inner light moment had way more impact than anything else that happened before it. What do you think?
I don't think I could say it any better than that.
Yeah, what a shame, to be honest. Like, and I said before as well, like I really, I've never had to try so hard to like Star Trek before, and I really just hope that this is not a sign of things to come. I hope that this is just because of the conditions around the way this season was produced, that it was all very rushed. There was a lot of turmoil happening at Paramount.
Yeah.
And, hopefully we've seen the back of that now. And, we get a bit more of a consistent and exciting season in season 4.
Yeah.
But,
and along that line, I think I heard it on Strange New Pods analysis. Didn't this seem like a series finale in a way?
a little bit, yeah. Because that whole epilogue with, Pike getting to live out his life, happy with Battelle, that, to me, felt like the epilogue for Discovery. Did it not have that same energy?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. And props to the makeup crew. Like, if that's the way Marie Battelle is going to age, she ages gracefully.
Yeah, better than Pike did.
Yeah, I wasn't going to even mention that.
Yeah, but that whole... I feel that this deep love and connection with Patel kind of ruins what ends up happening to Pike, which is, the Talosians giving him his illusionary life with is it Vina? Vina, yeah. Like, surely the real love of his life was Patel, not Vina.
That's what I thought. And I thought this was clearly a setup. Despite them saying the future is never set in stone, that it's a setup for Pike eventually getting back together with Vina.
Yeah, you could be right.
Because I was sad to see Patel go. Like, I loved the character. I wanted her to stay. And they could have come up with other ways other than killing her off to end the relationship.
Absolutely, yeah. And look, let's step through. Look, I haven't done my normal rewatch because I've been preparing for Trek Masters, so I've been a little short on time. But what I have got is just the key plot points throughout the episode that I wanted to discuss. So let's start with the big one. Well, what was probably meant to be the big one, but landed kind of flat on its ass, which is the return of Ensign Gamble, who somehow conveniently transported himself and...
without anyone knowing,
got his pattern out of the transporter and managed to traverse space and time through some kind of intergalactic bus route, which was a very 20th century term to be using as an analogy, by the way.
Yes. Yeah, and that scene, like, one of my other nitpicks with the episode, for lack of a better way of saying it, was like, there was a bit of underacting on Corby's part in that scene when he sees Gamble. Like, it's clear they're meant to. It's clear they're trying to say the character realizes it's an oh shit moment and I'm in deep trouble. But that is clearly, at least in my opinion, not the look on his face. It's just an amused smirk. He doesn't look like someone who's going. Crap.
Yeah, well, because when they eventually show up and find Corby, he's just wandering around, right? Like,
yeah, exactly.
Why didn't Gamble, and whatever Gamble's name was as this weird god, like, ley lines are an occult term, thank you, Joel. Yeah, like... Wouldn't he? I thought he was going to, like, imprison Corby, use him as a prisoner or a hostage or something like that.
That's what I thought, too.
And this is what I was saying this before you got on, Jim. I felt like even the episodes of this season that I really loved, there was always something about the writing or the plot or the direction at some point of every episode where I just got taken out of it. You know, like, when you sit and you enjoy something like Strange New Worlds, you just want to sit and let yourself be lost in the narrative, right? But when things happen that just don't feel right, like characters don't do something like the way that they should, or it just doesn't fit with what is known about this franchise and this universe, you're just like, oh, I'm taken out of it, and it's hard to get back in. And that took me out of it.
Exactly my thoughts on that, too.
And I felt so let down because I loved Through the Lens of Time, and I was like, ooh, what a cool little setup for something like big and dramatic to happen later on. And I was fully expecting that it might come to fruition in the finale. But I was just like, that image of just something fizzling out. I'm like, the best description I heard for this episode was a fart in the wind. It's something that is kind of there and then it's gone, and you're just kind of grateful that it's over.
Yeah. It kind of felt like they meant it to be like a shotgun blast, but it came out. It was more like a pop gun with like the flag popping out of the gun.
Yeah. Anyway, so that happens. And then, like you said, M'Benga, there's kind of like this big setup that he's going to play this central kind of part of the plot, but then he doesn't, and it's really weird. Like, they kind of get stuck back in that prison together because, there's all this paradoxal stuff kind of happening,
Yeah. I'm
what
still
was it,
trying to
cause
wrap my
before
mind
the
around,
effect, or
around all of that.
Yeah.
Around all of that effect before cause stuff.
Yeah, which I liked. I liked that as a concept, right? There's a bit of Star Trek wibbly wobbly, timey wimey Doctor Who kind of stuff going on there. But also a little bit too Doctor Who in parts, and not as much Star Trek as it possibly could have been.
A little Doctor Who with a little bit of Doctor Strange mixed in as well, I thought.
Yeah, you're right. Because then we've got what happens with Batel. So that like you said, that all gets forgotten very quickly because Batel feels the pain when Gamble strikes the statue, and then they just very quickly figure out that the statue in the prison is Batel, and Batel's got like weird like Gary Mitchell eyes going on, and and Batel just goes, "Oh, I must be some kind of super being because of all of the different genetic elements I have." And they're like, "Oh, yeah." Duh.
When I heard that, I was like, oh, Jesus Christ. I would do a facepalm right now if I weren't driving.
Yeah, and again, like, I liked the idea of that. I don't like, again, and it's the challenge of trying to do 10 episodes and trying to do standalone adventures, but also have a bit of a story running through it. And as Joel in the chat has just said, very bad wolf. Joel, you are 100% correct. I finished this and I said, this felt like a season of Doctor Who. Because Doctor Who does that, standalone episodes all throughout the season, but there's always a little, like, hints of something that's tying everything together that you don't realize until you get to the end. However, Joel, I don't feel that this was done as well as Bad Wolf. Like, Bad Wolf was incredible. Like, I loved that season of Doctor Who.
I agree.
And even Doctor Who was probably not quite hit those same heights again. Like, Doctor Who has tried to kind of replicate the way the audience felt during the Bad Wolf arc. And yeah, this felt like it was trying to do that as well. But again, not as good. Not as good. In fact, really quite flat as attack from my perspective. Because it's just not. It's just I just don't think it was very Star Trek-y. I want to try and find some nice things to say, Jim. What are some nice things to say?
Well, I thought the dream. I thought, for lack of a better way of saying, the dream sequence that showed Patel and Pike having a future was very wonderful to see.
I agree. That left me with a good feeling at the end. I felt that whole ending was really touching and really beautiful, and then it had all that wonderful montage of all the characters, and they've come together, and they're like, we've got all this new information on all these new worlds. Let's get out there and explore. And I'm like, what you should have been doing all along.
The family chemistry between Pike, Patel, and the actress playing their daughter, they came off as like a real family.
Yeah, it was very, very touching and very well done. And I liked sort of like the knock on the door. She's like, no, Chris, come back to me. So yeah, as I keep calling it, it's Pike's inner light moment.
Those consistent knocks. Creepy as bleep, but perfect.
Yeah, Joel said, and there was a puppy too. There was. And when there is a puppy, I'm always invested, Joel. I'm always invested when there's a puppy, 100%. I felt like that could have been an entire episode all on itself. If that makes sense, right? Like, that they could have done that whole lifetime worth of memories, inner light kind of thing as a dedicated episode.
I was just about to say Star Trek has done that, inner light.
Yeah, and that's okay. Like, Strange New Worlds has done some pretty solid efforts on doing their own take on classic Star Trek plot lines, and that in itself, as a good chunk of this episode, by the way, was probably the best part of it for me. And that was just why I'm saying, like, I would have loved if that had been an entire episode and that it had been fleshed out more and we got to feel more of that pain when it was ripped away from Pike at the end, because I thought Anson Mount was doing a really good job of when, you know, he kind of snapped back, you know, like he's just woken up from general anesthetic and like, where am I? What's going on? When he realized, oh my God, none of it.
Yeah, he actually wasn't overacting this time.
Yeah, like that. That was really, really powerful to me. And then everything from there, really, really beautiful to the end. And then I kind of put, like, I feel like, was this Corby and Chapel breaking up as well? Did they kind of break up at the end? Or were they just kind of like...
that as a breakup? I took that as a, we'll figure this out, we'll figure this long distance relationship out kind of a thing. I took it as like a setup for Corby going missing.
Yeah, I guess so. Something I did really like, and I mentioned this just before you joined, Jim, was that I thought that the episode looked good, if that makes sense. Like,
it did.
The special effects were wonderful, costumes were wonderful, the makeup on all of the aliens and all that kind of stuff, and that's been the same.
The visuals were wonderful too.
Yeah, that's been the same through this whole season. I think it all looked fantastic.
Yeah. Like, is it just me, or like when Pike opened the door at the end of the sequence to see Gamble, did it strike you for just a split second? Like, did that seem like a scene out of The Matrix with Lawrence Fishburne for like a split second there?
Oh yeah, there was a lot of influences from across pop culture going on for sure. And something's just popped into my head, Jim, that we have not even touched on, and that was Kirk and the Farragut being there.
Oh God, yeah, we have to touch on that.
Why?
Yeah, like, well, they had to start doing the Spock-Kirk friendship at some point.
They did, but there was, again, things that really took me out of it, right? So, Kirk is the second in command of the Farragut. Why was no one talking to the captain? Why were they having to bring Kirk to the bar on the Enterprise and convince him of this action? Was it so he could go and convince his captain? There was only like one throwaway line to it. And
the captain, I think, was only in one scene in the background with no lines, and I wouldn't be surprised if that was reused stock footage from her previous appearance.
Yeah. Again, I was just like, I don't mind the odd appearances of Kirk, but this felt very forced as a way of like introducing his relationship with Spock and all that kind of stuff. And again, I thought that was just really silly that there was that he was the only person from the Farragut involved in this massive plan, and he was the only one who needed to be convinced and all that kind of stuff. I just wasn't a fan. I thought that the interaction with him and Spock was kind of nice. They had the little mind meld, and that was used as a way of retconning their lifelong friendship and where it was kind of born from, because they understood each other on this very deep level.
Although I could have done without that scene at the end where apparently he knew intimate details about Spock and La'an.
Yeah, that gave me ick. I was like, ick. I was like, gross. Like, because he looked at her like, now I've seen you naked. Like, that was like, that's how Kirk kind of looked at her. I thought, yeah, that's a bit creepy. Especially because there was a bit of sexual tension between Kirk and La'an earlier. I was like, ooh.
And we all know La'an still feels strongly for Kirk.
Yeah. Back on sort of like the visuals, Chad in the chat said, the visuals were really stunning, and mentioned the addition of the science room in this season. Yes, that's correct. And I've mentioned it on the show before, Chad, that why they just did away with the traditional engineering set, which Joel has called out as well, and just that science room became engineering. because they were doing all the engineering stuff from there. It was, anyway, we're a bit all over the shop today in terms of our discussions, by the way. But then again, I think that's very reflective of this season.
Yeah.
Our discussion is about as consistent as season 3 of Strange New Worlds was.
It's been a roller coaster season, that's for sure. It makes me curious what next season is going to be like.
Yeah, I mean that's probably a good place to sort of touch on as our, I guess, our final sort of discussion for this season of Hit It. What are you expecting from season 4, Jim?
Honestly, I'm not sure, especially considering the only hint we've gotten so far is Pike as a puppet.
Yes, we've got Muppet Trek coming our way. Which is funny because when I first discovered ChatGPT, all I did was ask it to create Star Trek Muppet characters, and so now I'm getting that in reality. So there we go.
I'm hoping we see more of the TOS crew. Like, let's see Sulu, let's see Chekhov. I'm not thinking of anyone else at the moment, but let's see those two.
Yeah. I thought we were. I had a feeling that maybe like a young Sulu or something like that, or even a young Dr. McCoy was going to show up.
Oh yeah, McCoy
in this episode.
Dr. Piper. Let's see Dr. Piper.
Yeah, exactly. Like, or even a young Gary Mitchell or something like that, right? Like even something that would have been really cool. But
yeah, or I think he was already mentioned this season, Commodore Decker.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I think there's opportunities to bring in other characters like that.
Yeah, like let's see early non-villainous versions of some TOS characters.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, before the Galactic Edge turned them into psychotic murderers. I think I'm hoping for it to go back to what the promise of Strange New Worlds always was, which is just a fun adventure every week somewhere in the cosmos. You know, I
think it still kind of is that, but it's just become a victim of everything going wrong with Paramount right now.
Yeah, and you know, there needs to be a lot less of this attempt to have, you know, that Doctor Who thing that we spoke about before with the epic plot happening underneath. You know, our weekly episodes and adventures. I probably would like a little bit less comedy. I think I'd like a little bit more balance. Like, I don't mind a bit of comic relief in episodes, but whole episodes, there were so many farcical episodes in this I was like,
every other episode was a farcical episode.
Yeah, and not all of it was good. Like, in fact,
Very
barely,
true. I don't
barely
mind one or
any
two
of
a
it.
season, but
Yeah,
I don't mind 1 or 2 a season, but half the episodes is no thank you.
yeah, exactly. Or just, you know, pepper some comic relief throughout each episode. You don't need to take the piss too much. And I say that as well because I felt that when it was trying to be funny, it wasn't always sticking the landing. There was lots of awkward direction, poor comedic timing. There was some stuff that genuinely made me laugh out loud and giggle, and most of that came from Pelia. Because Carol Kane can do no wrong, in my opinion. She chews the scenery whenever she's on camera, and she's a delight to watch and so ridiculously funny. And I felt like the rest of the cast could not always kind of keep up with her whenever she was on screen.
Well, to be fair, can anyone truly keep up with Carol Kane's comedic timing?
True. Very, very true.
Other than maybe Billy Crystal?
Yeah, well, yeah, I don't know if we're going to get Billy Crystal on Star Trek anytime soon. But
I don't think we are either.
Yeah. Well, I think that's pretty much it. I don't know if there's really a lot more that we can say on this. On this, we've talked about the episode. We've talked about what's going to come up next. I think we're both feeling a little deflated. And a little underwhelmed.
I know, I'm feeling sad there'll be no more Battelle. I hope we see her again at some point in the future, although I doubt it.
No, I think it was a way of getting her out of the picture. I think they needed to tie that up so that they could start preparing for what happens to Pike and all that kind of stuff. And and moving more towards the original series and all that kind of thing. But here we are. That's it for another Hive Mind recap. We'll bring this back for future when Starfleet Academy's around. And I'm actually thinking, Jim, we should actually try and get the Hive Mind together to talk about Star Trek Khan. Have you listened to Star Trek Khan?
I don't even know where to listen to it.
Oh, wherever you get podcasts from. It's an audio drama. So I listen to it on Spotify. You can get it on Apple Podcasts. It's on all of them.
I'll look it up then. I have not even listened to it yet.
Oh, I've listened to the first episode, and I won't say too much, but I was like, ooh, I've never really been into the audio drama thing before, but episode 1 showed promise. So if you have a listen, we might see, because I feel like we struggled to get the Hive Mind together for this season of Strange New Worlds because people just didn't really want to come on and talk about it. Like when we were doing...
Probably because of how up and down it was.
Yeah, like when we were doing Discovery recaps and Lower Decks recaps, we had big crowds. But it's been really hard to get people to come on and talk about this. So I'm hoping that people will want to come on and talk about Khan, and that they're going to want to come on and talk about Starfleet Academy when that starts too.
I would assume they're going to want to talk about Starfleet Academy, at least at first, because it's going to be a brand new series.
Yeah, exactly.
Whether you love it or whether you wind up loving or hating it, you're going to want to talk about it at least at first.
Yeah. So thank you to Joel and Chad for hanging out in the chat with us today. I know we got off to a little bit of a rough start with this stream. Remember to hit us up on Patreon, patreon.com/BQN, for lots of exclusive content and the chance to be invited to future Hive Mind discussions. I think that's it for now. I've got to go because I have got to go get ready for the season premiere of Trek Masters, aka Trexperts Quiz Season 4.
I'll be tuning in for it.
Oh, we've got a whole new look for the show. We've got Julian from Strange New Pod and Sabrina from the Sci-Fi Sisters.
He hyped his appearance on Thursday.
Yeah. So, come and join us in the live chat for that one. So over on Trek Masters.
You'll be happy to know I made it home safely, Davey.
I can see that. All right. Thank you so much for joining in, Jim. I will talk to you again soon. And thanks everyone else. Live long and prosper.
Double T Media.
Calling all audiophiles and Trekkies. Prepare to boldly go where no podcast listener has gone before with the diverse soundscapes of BQN. We're not just a network, we're a universe of exploration, entertainment, and deep dives into the topics you love. Here's your star map to the sonic adventures awaiting you. Charting the Star Trek cosmos, we have all good things. Embark on a comprehensive journey through the entire Star Trek universe with insightful crew of Amy, Christos, Kelvin, and Kristen. From classic to current, they cover it all. Galaxy Class, Engage. Stephen and Stefan pilots this deep space mission, meticulously covering all aspects of Star Trek: The Next Generation. Infinite Diversity. Stay current with the newest Star Trek frontiers alongside Chrissy and Thad. Union Federation. Whether your allegiances lies with Starfleet or the Planetary Union, Kyle, Kevin, Amy, and Haley offer a unified front discussing both current Star Trek and the truly Trek at heart, the Orville. Crack open that book with Peter and the Trek Book Club podcast. Delve into the rich tapestry of Star Trek's beta canon. What's the T-Bab? Christos spills the latest Trek news and fandom insights with an essential LGBTQIA+ perspective, complete with engaging guest interviews. Our visual voyages that you can find on YouTube as well as a podcast are Trexperts Quiz. Think you're a Starfleet Academy graduate? Test your knowledge with Davey and MC's challenging Star Trek quiz show. And the View Screen. Tune in live on Sundays for your dose of Trek-inspired talk show. Kelvin and Amy host new 8-week seasons each spring and fall. Beyond the Final Frontier, we have Bargain Bin Gamer. Davey and Mitch, your self-proclaimed gamer guides, lead you to digital treasures, unearthing and reviewing the most affordable video game gems. Cinema Z. Grab your metaphorical popcorn for Mark and Matt's cinematic deep dives, unearthing overlooked films that demand your attention. History with the Szilagys. In order to never repeat it, tune in as Chrissy and Jason deliver bite-sized snippets of historical events from around the globe. In Transformational Journeys, Lex Rosa explores what it means to embrace authenticity in the face of societal expectations. To unlock deeper levels of engagement, try our patron perks. The Hive Mind is where you can join our random script readings, live reaction shows, and roundtable discussions. And check out our back catalog of It's Green, a verdant cornucopia of topics offering diverse and engaging conversations, and Amy's Math Moments. Discover the subtle and not so subtle mathematical wonders woven into the fabric of Star Trek. You can stay connected to our ever-expanding galaxy of content by following at BQN Podcasts on Instagram, Blue Sky, YouTube, and Discord. We appreciate you choosing BQN to fill your auditory needs. Thank you for listening. Assimilate the audio.